but are supernatural assistants. From the Scottish Bruni, who are famously known to help with household chores, the Domovoy of Slavic mythology, who protect the inhabitants from harm, to the Lares, guardian spirits of a home and family of the Romans. The list goes on. Many myths and legends tell tales about them, some benevolent, or some mischievous or downright evil. In this episode, we shall look at two such stories, one with absolute loyalty and another the complete opposite. Meet Robin, not the one with the hood or the adorable little bird, but the bloodthirsty creature called the Redcap. In his minstrelsy of the Scottish border, Sir Walter Scott wrote that the Redcap is a popular appellation of that class of spirits which haunt old castles. Every ruined tower in the south of Scotland is supposed to have an inhabitant of this species. So, what does a Redcap look like? William Henderson described them as a short, thick-set old man with long prominent teeth, skinny fingers armed with talons like eagles, large eyes of fiery red color, and gristly hair streaming down his shoulders, iron boots, a pike staff in his left hand, and a red cap on his head. They are also known as red comb, bloody cap, or red cap sly. Keep in mind that there are a number of red cap tales in other regions of different characteristics, which should not be mistaken with the case of Robin Redcap in English Scottish border areas. There are numerous ruined, abandoned castles and towers scattered across the border regions, reminder of more than a millennium of conflict between the two nations. And the Redcaps are said to reside in this spot. Despite their heavy iron boots and pike, these fearsome goblins are incredibly fast, killing anyone who stumbles upon their nest, and they soak their cap red with the victim's blood. For if the cap dry out, the Redcap will die. Well, they sure don't sound very friendly. It makes you wonder who in their right mind would partner with them. Certainly not sweet Granny Margaret or kind Uncle Johnny. Introducing Robin Redcap's partner in crime, William de Soulis. He is said to have lived from the late 13th to mid-14th century during King Robert the Bruce of Scotland's reign. The Soulis were a powerful noble family on the borders, and William, being the Lord of Liddesdale, inherited Hermitage Castle, built by his father, Nicholas de Soulis. The ballad described William as a deeply unpleasant man. His cruel and violent nature earned him the nicknames Bad Lord Soulis and Terrible William. He is believed to have practiced dark sorcery, and is rumored to have learned the art from the renowned wizard Michael Scott, whom we talked about in the previous episode. William's desire for power and the Redcap's need for blood sparked a malevolent alliance. Robin was believed to live in a chamber of Hermitage Castle, where he was free to wreak havoc on the surrounding areas. And stories were circulated that they were responsible for the missing people, particularly children in the neighborhood, and that William tortured and performed evil rites in the chamber before murdering them. Furthermore, he infected people's cattle and burned down their home. In 1320, he took a liking of a young maiden from the Armstrong clan and attempted to kidnap her back to Hermitage Castle. The poor lassie's father tried to stop him, only to be killed in broad daylight. As word spread about his lawless act, people started to gather, forming an angry crowd that surrounded William, ready to take matters into their own hands. Fortunately for him, Alexander Armstrong, the Laird of Mangerton, came just in time. He managed to calm the infuriated crowd and persuade William to live without the maiden. A lucky escape for Lord Soulis. You'd think anyone would be grateful for the rescue, but not William. Instead, he invited Alexander to a banquet at Hermitage Castle and murdered the Laird upon his arrival. William de Soulis continues to make enemies with his notorious acts. Countless complaints were brought to King Robert the Bruce. It was said that the king, so irritated by the reiterated complaints, eventually told the petitioners, "Boil him if you please, but let me hear no more of him." They took the king's words as a seal of approval, but there lies a problem. William is believed to be protected by magic. Legend has it that the evil familiar with whom he make a pact and promise him a charmed life. No spear, arrow, sword, dagger, forged steel, or sturdy rope could injure him. Not even water can drown him. But every power has its weakness. In Soulis' case, only 3 robes made of shifting sand could bring about his downfall. Some of you may recall the episode of Wizard Michael Scott, in which he assigned the daemon with an impossible task of weaving a rope from sea sand to keep him occupied, as the sun will not hold together. It is possible that Robin chose this countermeasure because he believed such a tool can never be created. To break the spell, William's opponents sought assistance from Thomas the Rhymer, who possessed magical abilities bestowed upon him by the Queen of Elfin. Following Thomas' instructions, they stormed the castle, wrapped him in a sheet of lead, and dragged the tyrant to nearby Nice Den Rig, a stone circle of the Druids, where a giant cauldron filled with scorching molten lead awaited him. Lord Soulis was boiled alive, and Robin Redcap was nowhere to be seen. And some legends even say it was indeed Robin who performed this killing ritual in order to break free of their pact, as he has grown tired of Soulis' constant demands. Pretty gruesome, if true, but legends are often the theatrical interpretation of reality. As Sir Walter Scott put it, the tradition regarding the death of Lord Soulis, however singular, is not without a parallel in the real history of Scotland. The mention of Thomas the Rhymer in the story, for example, contradicts the timeline, as Thomas had passed away before the reign of King Robert the Bruce. However, there was indeed a William de Soulis, Lord of Hermitage Castle, in recorded history. But instead of boiling alive in a molten lead, he died while in prison at Bodach-an-Doune Castle for his involvement in a conspiracy against King Robert the Bruce. It is possible that the legend was related to William's ancestor, Ranulph de Soulis, who was killed in his teens by his servants in the early 1200s. William was the last de Soulis to hold the title of Lord of Liddesdale. After his passing, Hermitage Castle was seized by the Crown and has since changed hands several times. It is rumored to be one of the most haunted castles in the country. As for Robin Redcap, regardless of which Soulis he served, and proved to be an unreliable assistant, and some believe that he stole the treasure of Lord Soulis and still haunts and kills in the ruins of castles to this day. Fortunately, not all supernatural assistants behave like Robin. Some take immense pride in their faithful services. The next story will show just that. Legend tells of a warrior spirit in the ancient forest of Rothiemurchus in the Highlands of Scotland. It is said that those who venture deep into the woods may chance upon this gigantic figure challenging them to a fight. How do you fight a ghostly apparition? The simple answer is, show no fear. It is certainly not an easy thing to do, for many would have been in a state of shock or run screaming. But the legend says that those who show fear and flee are condemned to an eternal wandering within the forest. However, if you stand your ground and accept the challenge, safe passage will be granted, and the spirit will disappear. This spirit warrior is said to be Sir McGilchrist MacLean Mackintosh. He was the chief of the Clan Shaw in the 14th century. We shall refer to him as Sir Mhor here. Sir Mhor was a formidable warrior. According to William G. Shaw, the Shanahy of the clan, Sir Mhor took part in the Clan Mackintosh victory over Clan Cameron at Inverness Haven. He was also captain of Clan Chattan, a confederation of 12 Highland clans, in the legendary Raid of Angus in 1391. On behalf of the chief of Mackintosh, Shaw again led Clan Chattan to victory in the Battle of North Inch in September 1396. As a reward, his grateful cousin and chief, Lachlan Mackintosh, gave Shaw the possession of the lands of Rothiemurchus, where Clan Shaw's main seat was at the ancient hill fort at Doune. Shaw died in 1405 and was buried in the churchyard of Rothiemurchus. Is he the supernatural assistant? No, but he and the Shaw family certainly have one, and very loyal indeed. In his book, Memorials of the Clan Shaw, George William Shaw wrote about the Bodach-an-Doune, the guardian spirit who presides over the fates and fortunes of the Shaws. In Scotland, there are numerous tales surrounding the Bodach, with different attributes associated with him before and after the arrival of Christianity. Some say he is the consort of the Caliph, respected and worshipped in ancient times. Together, they bestow blessings upon the people's most cherished possessions throughout the year, and their names continue to be linked to the Scottish landscape even today. While some describe him as mischievous character, a helpful household spirit, or even a harbinger of death. Regardless of the tales told, his interactions with the Shaw family are always said to be benevolent. For generations, the Bodach had been a loyal companion to the Shaw family in Doune, assisting with various tasks on the estate or keeping a watchful eye over them. However, in the late 16th century, these lands became the property of the Grant family. Devastated by the departure of his beloved Shaws, the Bodach left and never returned. Is this the end of his service? Not by a long shot. The lawyer's spirit took out his protective duties at the churchyard at Rothiemurchus, guarding the final resting place of Mhor and his tribe buried there. It is said that the 5 stones rest on top of the grave of Mhor and not to be disturbed, or risk facing the wraith of the Bodach, and he means business. Elizabeth Grant of Rothiemurchus mentioned in her book Memoir of a Highland Lady that in the early 1800s, when the 6th Duke of Bedford rented the place, one of his English footmen threw one of the stones into the nearby river Spey. Why did he do that? Perhaps as a dare, or to prove that the legend was a bluff. A few days later, the stone reappeared in its original position, but sadly, the footman was discovered and drowned in the river Spey. In the 1940s, a journalist visited the site. He lifted one of the stones high above his head in a mocking fashion. He was killed in a car accident a few hours later on his journey south. In 1978, 3 men were tidying the churchyard. One of them, named Leslie Walker, turned one of the stones around. He later told the Aberdeen Evening Press that he suffered from a high body temperature of 103 degrees that same evening and spent 6 weeks in the hospital thereafter. The second guy was hospitalized with severe stomach pain. The third one had the worst outcome of all, said to have rearranged all 5 stones. He was reported dead a day later. In around 1983, Jimmy Gordon, the Rothiemurchus gamekeeper, made a metal cage and placed it over the grave to protect the stones and perhaps also prevent any future casualties. After all, as the saying goes, curiosity kills the cat. Regardless of whether you view the spirits as mere folklore, symbolic representations of culture, or insights into a mystical history, they continue to hold meanings and resonate to many to this day. I shall finish with the words written by William G. A. Shaw, the Shanachie of the clan. Whether our Bodach is a brony, a hobgoblin, spirit, ghost, gnome, or even a crankier version of Dobie, the House of Elf, we Shaws are blessed that we have an ancient link to the supernatural world of fairy that guards over our clan, over the cradle of our clan family, and over the bones and memorial stones of our named father, Mhor. May he always watch over us.